Hey everyone, it's Mercedes, your host, here again with another episode of wakesetGO. So, on this episode, we're going to meet with Priyanka, a software engineer. She resides in India. So, you know what that means. This is our second international guest we've had on wakesetGO. So, I'm super excited about that and all the gems she's going to share about how her being a mentor to others has helped her, as well as how important it is to find mentorship and how also being in her field as male dominated as it is, she's been able to help others and inspire others to go after their dreams. So hopefully you're just as inspired as I was after our conversation and it charges up the CEO in you. So stay tuned.
It's time to wake, set, go. Charge up the CEO in you with our motivational podcast geared towards helping you optimize and strategize your ideas into actionable results. With your host, Mercedes Allen, featuring guests from various industries from marketing, technology, and legal.
Bianca, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, hi. Hello everyone. Today,
Yeah, you
okay,
can tell us a little bit about yourself. I know this is your first time on Go, and we're great, that you take the time out of your day to talk with us. So, yeah, tell us a little bit
yeah.
about yourself.
Okay, I'll give a brief about me. I'm currently working at Airbase. It's a US fintech startup, and I'm from India. I have graduated here itself. And as you all know, like as you might have been aware of, that programming and the coding is something male dominant field, and it's like related to mathematics. And most of the people think like the mathematics is not something which females can do, but I can tell you, like, if you want it, you can totally do it and you can make your own space. Being from India, I was able to get a job at an US fintech startup, which is in Silicon Valley. Also working remotely and living with my family currently. So it's like a win-win situation where you work for a good startup as well, and you don't have to leave your country.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
so
would you
that's
ever
pretty about me.
consider, yeah, would you ever consider like leaving India, or if you could live anywhere, where would you decide to live?
I would still decide to live in India because of the culture we have. We have like a pretty diverse culture and we celebrate things a lot. But I would surely like to visit US and different countries just for the travel purpose, but not for the staying purpose.
Oh, I see. So, what inspired you to want to pursue a career in coding? Like, what kind of made you get into it? Because I know in India, especially like in the US, there's this bias thing where there's a lot of offshore teams, and everywhere in India is doing, some related form of technology. So, what kind of inspired you to want to go that route? Since we just hear about men doing it, not women, but what kind of made you want to get into the field?
I mean, like, I'll tell you the story how I get into this field. So, I was in fifth standard. At that moment of time, I have seen some presentation. It's like a simple PowerPoint presentation built by my some senior, and they were like moving the objects. Like there was a car, it was moving around the screen, and I was like quite impressed about it, like how they created it. So that was a day where I get interested in computers. As I grew up, like the interest keeps growing because I wanted to explore like how they build things, how they create mobile apps, how they create games, how the website works. And I think the interest and the passion about the computers get me here where I am right now.
What's some highlights like on your journey, like, to get into coding and finding a fintech startup, like just for anybody that's out there wanting to get into tech, like how did you, like what are some highlights that really just were like, okay, this is how you do it? Or did you have anybody kind of tell you like, this is how you get into like a fintech startup, or was that always the goal?
No, it's not about a goal thing. I mean, as you know, like everyone doing a software engineering, they have ultimate goal to be in Google someday, or like the Meta, Amazon kind of thing. It's like we call it manga, because Meta, Apple, Netflix kind of companies, you always dream of those. And being from India, it's like most of the time, it's like I want to be in Google someday. And the college I am from was like a tier 3 college. It's like not the one which is at the top level. It was like a pretty decent college in my city. And there was no one to guide me as well, but I have like talked to multiple people while working online. I talked to people at Berlin, US, Canada about the career, how they have grown. And I got a lot of mentors in this place. I mean, like I talked to them, I worked with them on different projects, and somehow
Get
I,
mentors. Yeah, like how do you even find mentors? Like you're in India, like how are you able to get these mentors?
yeah. So I mean, right now I'm also mentoring people at ADP list. If someone is looking at it and they want to make a career in it, I actively mentor there. I guide people how to do a career switch and turn to IT, like come to IT and be a programmer or coder, because it's like if you don't know, it's an high paying job. So it's one advantage. And the second thing, I got mentored because of some internships that I have done remotely. So I applied there. I'm just doing some Google search and got interested there, started communication. I think communication plays a big part if you are working and doing things remotely. Because if you talk actively and you are proactive in the communication, even if it's a time zone difference, because I remember working at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. because I just want to match their times, and because they are not ready, it's me who want to do something big. So I need to manage their time zones, even if it costs me my sleep.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I was really like appreciative of us even being able to connect because it's like 10 a.m. in America, which I learned
Yes.
how Indian time zone is that it's actually 30 minutes behind us, and then you just change AM to PM. So that means it's like
Yeah.
almost 10 o'clock PM over there. And so you mentioned about mentoring that you also mentor. And I know in some of our conversations, because we actually met online, which is a good way of, meeting people in other areas. You're very active on social media. And what I like about what you do and what inspired me to want to have you on Wake Set Go is because you're very consistent. It's like every day, it's like your vlog. Even though people think of IT and being a coder as something boring, you're making it more aesthetic by showing you at your computer every day, like what you're doing. And I think that's motivational enough for people to say, okay, if you want to do something, and you're consistent every day and you're showing people and you're even helping and mentoring them, that's a win-win in itself.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Uh,
so I think that's really good to, show that part of connecting. So tell us a little bit more about like your mentoring program and kind of like some of the stuff that you've been able to do with that.
yeah, so I mean, I was actively mentoring. I have started actively mentoring because I was looking for mentors, and I'm not sure if I find one, what should I ask them? Like, it's an often question. Like, most of the newbies have that. Like, if I even get a slot for the mentor, what should I ask them? Like, should I ask them about the career? Should I ask them about the languages to work on? And like, there are different things. Should I ask about the career trajectory and everything? So I started with the approach ki I want to know the questions what people ask. So I started mentoring people. People started booking my slot. And then I realized I am able to answer their questions because I already had an experience. They are coming into the career, but I have completed 4 to 5 years in the same field. If so, there was this thing. So there were people from the US. I'm taking an example of US people who are housewives who have like career break for like 10 years because of the maternity and then the post parenting after that, and they want to switch their career. Like they were in the banking and they are coming into coding. So it's entirely new. They have taken some boot camps, but not sure how to get a job after that. So I help them to get the job. I mean, I tell them like how the MNCs work, how you should prepare for the interviews, what you should speak, how you can make more chances in cracking the interviews. So that's one part. Also, the people from the countries like Nigeria, Africa, where I think women education is not that much hype, or even the IT is not that good, like the infrastructures and the technologies that we have in US or the countries like India. I mean, India is still developing in that case, but I feel they are pretty behind, like they are behind from us. Still, they were able to find me, and I had tried to understand their point of view, how it's being in their country. And I can relate, like it's totally different. If they get a guidance, they are like amazing. They can understand things, they can do or build amazing things. Even I have mentored a person who like she's a girl and she was starting a startup and she was just 19. And she is from some African country, like near to Nigeria. And she was able to launch her first website by herself. And
Oh
she
wow.
started getting orders on that. And like she built an e-commerce that is live in Africa. So I think if you, I was the person who didn't get mentors, but somehow I was able to communicate with most of the people and was able to find a way. But still, I had someone to look after in every phase of my life.
Yeah, that's
And if you find someone who is actively helping you, and mentoring is not a one way process. Like if I talk to you like today, and
mhm,
we had a discussion for 30 minutes, and then you don't come back with the progress, or maybe uh like I'm mentoring 10 other people as well, so I can't go to each one and ask about the progress and what you did after our last call. But if you are coming actively, then you surely want to make progress, and I will also pay more attention to you because you are coming and you are trying to talk. I think if
right,
someone is looking, I mean, not specific to this field, but if you are looking to grow in any field, you need to be consistent and proactive in talking to people because you want that thing, not the other people, not the other person.
right. That's wisdom right there. I think that's so true, and I'm glad you spoke on some of the challenges that women face, especially in African countries with the infrastructure and how, I mean, the fact that you are still able to mentor and help women with those issues to launch websites, to be able to get sales, to launch businesses. That's like
Yes.
an awesome win all the way around. So I know in America that there have been news flashes about layoffs. What do you feel like
Yes.
that does with the industry? And does that make you feel like there's not enough jobs? Or from a mentor standpoint, do you feel like if somebody does come to you for advice, you're able to find them a job in the current economy and times? Or how do
Yes.
you pivot that? Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think the layoffs are the reason because people has overhired. I mean, like there was 2018 and 2019, the phase before, just before COVID, when there was like overhiring going on and people were paid like, I mean, you name the amount and they are giving it to you. So it's like overhiring because of which the layoffs are being going on. But similarly, if you see the number of layoffs is equivalent to the number of jobs coming in. So right now, if you see Google is laying off people, but they are also hiring. So they are laying off from the products that are not running anymore. So yes, there is a down in the market, but it's like because of money, because they are laying off the people who are overpaid to the people like they're kind of resetting their ranges about the money. But if you are good in the skills and you know the things, you will surely get a job in a week or in a month. But there are
Oh,
definitely a lot of jobs as everything is going digital nowadays.
oh yeah, for sure, definitely. So with that said, and seeing, more women getting into the field and more countries that, probably didn't have a play or say in the marker, where do you see the future from here? Do you see those infrastructures improving? And are you wanting to dive into some of that as well to help with getting technology in more remote places so that those women
Uh,
that aspire to not just be housewives can get into it?
Yeah, so if like women are trying to go there, I'm surely ready to help them, like by any means, like talk to me, communicate with me, because I was the person in my, I mean, like in my surrounding also, I don't have much female friends who do program. I have found them online, but if you go particularly in the region, there are very few people. So maybe you can be the exception. You are the only person in your group who likes computers and who want to code, but don't get demotivated by the other person. Like, okay, you can't do that, or you can do it if you want to. Second thing, if coming to the infrastructure part, I feel it's becoming better nowadays because most of the companies are started working remotely. So you can work from any country, because I'm working in a company, I'm working at Airbase, and basically we have people from 23 different countries. So it's like, even if you are from Africa but you have a right skill set, you will be hired. It's not anymore about your location, it's about your skill sets.
Wow. So that's really a good key point because I think with COVID happening, I think that allowed most businesses to see that you don't have to live in a specific area to have the
Yes.
career to do the things that you want to do. You can pretty much do it from anywhere. And that's what I like about how society is now run. How do you, yeah, so how do you find like balance, like outside of coding? Like, what is it that you do to recharge, to get ready to mentor? I know you get excited about it and you love it, but what is something you like to do on your downtime to get pumped up to do that kind of work?
So I'm like, most of the time, I have already mentioned, I'm passionate about coding. So I keep reading blogs. I'm crazy about these things. I just be with my laptop and I am happy. But even if I don't, I want to reduce my screen time and want to switch to different thing, I do painting. That also I do digitally. So basically there is no screen time reduction. But yeah, I do painting. I do create caricatures, or maybe go for a workout. That's it. I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
painting or a workout.
Yeah, so I know, like again, like online, I always see you. You're at your desk, you're in front of the computer. But what is something that you do like in the morning to be able to prepare and get ready for your day? Like I know you have those consistent habits, but do you have like a routine of like, I'm going to work this long, I'm going to take a break, do a workout, or like how do you make sure you're your most productive self? Like what do you do to be very productive, like during your day? Is it the same thing
Yeah,
every day at the same time? Do you eat the same thing? Like, how do you stay productive?
yeah. So, okay. I mean, repeating the same things every day doesn't work out for me, because I'm the person who looks for different things and keeps exploring. I can't stay with one thing for a long time. So what I do is, I wake up. I'm the late morning person. I wake up around 8 a.m., 9 a.m. That was my usual time. At that time, I'm just running for the work, like just starting my laptop and attending the calls. In the afternoon, I eat my food and do something. But at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., I go for a workout. I go for a jogging or a run. Sometimes I do read books, or maybe if I'm not feeling like working and I'm like feeling super less productive that day, I keep watching different kind of videos on Skillshare or something, just to be learn new things. And the way I keep myself productive, like I complete my task and don't end up with a procrastination, is I recently figured out that this Pomodoro technique works really amazing for me. I set my task and I add two Pomodoros to it. And Pomodoro is a technique where you have like 25 minutes timer running them. So I set that up. I make a list. I set all the Pomodoros and just start that. And I keep completing the task. And once I'm free, I do random things. I scroll Pinterest most of the time. I scroll Instagram. So that's all. I think most of the time I go for a run or a workout part. I feel energetic after that.
Yeah, so reading those blogs, and I know like sometimes when you're like trying to get away from screen time, but sometimes reading and staying up to date on the latest news keeps you updated on what the trends are. And is that how you kind of find out what the most current things are happening in the industry, or how do you find out like what's the latest news or what's, the most updated trend, especially when it comes to coding?
So for the most updated trends in the industry, earlier I used to use Twitter, now called X. So basically, I used to scroll that, where people used to post about the different things. But nowadays, most of the time, it's the blogs. I'm too much dependent on blogs. I read them very often. I start my day with two blogs reading. I have this. Y Combinator thing where you get most of the startup news, like who are getting funding and everything, if you are aware of that. So I started reading about two Y Combinator startups and realize, okay, they are building something like this, and this has a pretty good scope in the world. So it's like
Wow.
understanding, because maybe in the near future I want to start something like that, but uh, just figuring out the good ideas on that.
So you do one day want to start like your own like software and kind of
Yes,
put it out there? Okay. Gotcha.
yeah,
So that's what we
I
can
really want to do that.
yeah, awesome. So we can definitely expect that in the future from you, the
Yes,
software. Awesome.
definitely.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of like what Wake Set Go and the mission is all about is to charge up the CEO in you, because I feel like everyone we all possess, even if we're not running
Oh,
our own business, we're running other businesses, and it can charge us up and inspire us to create something. And whatever it is, it is, a software, if it's a product, if it's a service, how we plan and start our day and do our tasks and just go for it consistently. And I think that what you said, your whole mantra and just being in software is wake, set, go, approve. And I'm excited to look forward to what you create and do next, and for charging up
yeah,
the CEO in you and being a guest and helping other women in other industries charge up the CEO in them as well, as you've shown that that's what you've done. And you may not have even realized that that's the Wix formula too, is about starting your day, doing those tasks, getting it done, executing, and finding ways to get refreshed, recharged, and inspired to continue to put out and help others in the process.
yeah.
So thank you so much for being on and being a guest. Is there anything else you would like to tell the listeners out there about you, Priyanka, that you feel like you want them to know? Any kind of like stereotypes or things that you feel like you want people to understand about women that are in coding that may not get the credit they deserve, that may not get highlighted as much? Like, what is it that you have to say for those listeners out there to kind of keep them motivated to want to pursue a career, even if they're the only woman, things like that? Like, what is it, you want to share with them?
Yeah, I want to conclude with this statement. Like, if you really want to do it, keep working for it. It will happen eventually, and you have a lot of surprises out there. I mean, if you and always try to prepare for the best things in the life, so that even if you don't get the best, you will get, if you will end up somewhere in the better or the good position. If you prepare for something good, I mean, it's good to prepare for something good, but if you prepare for the lower range, you will get more lower than that. That was my personal experience. So if you prepare something really, really best, I mean, like, target the moon and you will shoot some stars.
I love that. Yeah. So basically, aim high, and that way you're still shooting for that target and having big
Yes,
goals, having big dreams, because you set the tone for where you're going to go. And that, reminds me of some of the things that I've talked about just in vision board, manifesting, mindset training. A lot of what I do to help people prepare their mindset is to think positive. And people think it's being crazy, but no, it actually works. When you see yourself doing it, you envision yourself doing it. As Priyanka
yes,
has shown and shared, you can actually do it and become that. But if you set the bar low, as you said, you're just thinking like, oh, I just want to get a job and do this. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. But if you think bigger and you're like, okay, I'm going to create my own software, help women, get funding, do all of this stuff, it's going to happen. And if you keep at it, you never know that year 2, year 3, what can take off from that. So that's really great mindset thinking. So thank you again for joining. I hope everyone out there continues to wake, set, go for whatever it is that they want to do and continue to aim higher. And hopefully this helps someone. So thanks, everyone.